Welcome to another episode here, and what I have been doing or attempting to do is to offer a couple of my favorite hymns and psalm tunes. I did in the first episode the tune of Africa, which is by far my favorite tune, at least of this year so far. And Africa, you remember, is that lovely tune to the words of "Now shall my inward joys arise." Now shall my inward joys arise and burst into a song. And you see it in the first episode. You can see it in the YouTube video here. This time I'm switching from a hymn to a psalm. Now, psalms can be very complex, and some can be very easy, like Psalm 110. Jehovah to my Lord had said, sit thou at my right hand. A real famous tune, and usually what they do is they will take a tune, a melody from a familiar hymn, and they will place it within the rhythm of a psalm poem. And it fits. One of the problems with that, of course, is that you end up taking the tune of a hymn that is usually very much associated with that melody, and you impose it on the poetry of a psalm, and it can lose a little bit of the gravitas of that tune, because sometimes a tune is so powerfully associated with a hymn that when you transfer it to a psalm, it can lose a little bit of its brilliance. Sometimes it works. I'm not opposed to it, but I think the ideal scenario is to have an original tune to each psalm so that you can associate the psalm lyrics with the particular tune. This one is Psalm 22, verses 1 through 8, which is a psalm of lament. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? A very sad and a very excruciating set of words from David, which applies, of course, to the crucifixion of Jesus. And I'm going to play through it in a very slow fashion here so you can grab a little bit of the angst that the psalmist exudes. And I want you to see that Tallis's melody here, Thomas Tallis was a favorite English composer of choral music, fits very carefully to the lyrics of Psalm 22, verses 1 through 8. But it doesn't fit in that easy peasy sort of environment of melodies that are modern composed. It's one that requires a lot of complexity, just like the words of Psalm 22 require a certain complexity. It goes like this, and it begins in the D minor, which you can always assume a minor chord. Speaks to a little bit of the sadness of the scenario. My God, oh why have you forsaken me? Oh why are you so far from giving help and from my groaning cry? By day and night, my God, I call, your answer still delays, and yet you are the Holy One who dwells in Israel's praise. You see here how it functions. It's not an easy rhythm. It doesn't just start with the note and carries on to the same quarter notes sequentially, the kind of expectation you have. It switches on you when you least expected. Just like the crucifixion of Jesus and the suffering of David switches on the reader as he is considering the template of David's suffering. And so I want to sing through verse 3 again so you can just feel a little bit of the transition of the psalmist here and how the tune is a very powerful tune that enters into the story of David. Listen carefully to the words and how the rhythm functions. There are a lot of minor chords. All those who look at me will laugh. Look at that, just that transition. All those who look at me will laugh and cast reproach at me. Their mouths they and why they wag their heads in mockery. The Lord was his reliance once. Now see what God will send. Yes, let God rise and set me free, this man that was his friend. Listen to what I've just sung here. There was this incredible sincerity from the psalmist. The Lord was his reliance once. At one time, I trusted him. I'm beginning to lose that trust because my enemies keep opening their mouths and wagging their heads, and their mockery keeps increasing. But now my Lord was my reliance once, and now I know what the expectation is for this moment. Now I want to wait to see what God will do. And what will he do? Psalm 22, he will rise once again, just as he did in Israel's history, in my history, and he will set him free. He will set him free. He will bring his friendship to fruition. I'm going to switch from verses 1 and 3, go to verse 2. So you can see, again, that theme being played out in Israel's history here. All those who look at me, verse 2. Our fathers put their trust in you. From you their rescue came. They begged you and you set them free. They were not put to shame. But as for me, I am a worm and not a man at all. To men I am despised and base. Their scornings on me fall. David is working through the faithfulness of God through history. He is working through what it means to be despised, to feel like a worm. Their scornings on him fall. He's waiting for the resolution of this psalm here. And the psalm is much longer than 8 verses, but in the first 8 verses you can begin to see David struggling as he is working through this prayer, this hymn of adoration, and simultaneous lament. It's a really powerful. The tune is called the Third Mode Melody here by Tallis. And the words are from, at least the poetry of the psalm comes from the Book of Songs for Singing from 1973. This is Crown and Covenant publication. It's probably one of the most well-known, at least at the popular level, Psalter. But the Tallis tune sort of fits in a very beautiful and mysterious way. I mean, you hear it, right? La 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 li la di la da da di da da la di da da la di da di la di da di da da la di da da di da di da da la di da 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 la di di da la di di da la 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 li la la. You can almost feel this dance in this lament of David. You're walking with him through this entire struggle, through this entire journey of lament. A real beautiful melody that I encourage from Tallis. I will put the music and the hymn piece in my blog, and you can see the wording on my YouTube page. Hope you follow along. I also ultimately hope you'll be able to sing this beautiful melody. Work on it. It's not easy the first time, and might not be easy the second time, but by the third or fourth time as you work through together corporately or individually, you'll be able to see the beauty of this beautiful minor key melody. My God, oh why have you, based on Psalm 22, verses 1 through 8. Thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you for the third episode mighty soon. Cheers.